Ever since moving to Manchester, I've been very interested in this area called Northern Quarter, but more specifically about its vintage character and how it really came about. So in this production, I interviewed a couple people that work in Northern Quarter so they could give me some insight into the vintage character of this area. My first interviewee was Ray Donald, a worker at the Vinyl Exchange. When did the shop open?
The shop opened in 1988 and moved into its current premises, I think, in 1992.
Okay. And why did you or whoever created the shop decide to create a vinyl shop in Northern Quarter specifically?
Well, at the time that the shop opened, I don't think the area was really known as the Northern Quarter. The Northern Quarter branding came along later on in the 90s, I think, with the council and various local traders. So it wasn't really set up in order to, or set up in this place in order to benefit from any kind of hip Northern Quarter thing, because that came along much later. I think the premises were just available, and the people who, the two men who set the shop up, had worked in record shops in London, and they'd been looking around for a place that was big, but not in London, that didn't have a really good second-hand record shop. And they found this place, so they both moved here.
Do you think Northern Quarter has a vintage feel or character? If so, why do you think that is?
Well, the word vintage is a bit difficult to use very precisely. I think all it means to me, anyway, is it's old, whereas I think for a lot of people it means old that's become fashionable. And the way I look at it is that most of the buildings in this area are at least 100 years old, even if the current use to which they're put bears no relation to the original purpose for which they were built. So they're old buildings, and that to me means that it's by and large a vintage area. Although, funnily enough, Ancoats, bits of Ancoats, which is a bit further north, have begun to be included in the Northern Quarter, and there's obviously quite a lot more new building there as well as the older ones. So it's becoming a bit mixed because of the redefinition of what the Northern Quarter is. I think it's a little bit more spread out than it used to. It includes bits of, well, as I said, bits of Ancoats now, and I don't think it used to begin with.
What do you think about Northern Quarter attracts people to come here, to visit here?
I think the main thing is that there's a lot of bars, shops, places for people to socialise. I don't think the appeal of the area has anything to do with its visual appearance as such. It's just to do with the fact that it's very active. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot going on that I think especially younger people visiting the city, but also people who live here, would like to be involved in doing.
Next, I interviewed Lizzie, a worker in another vintage shop in Northern Quarter, one of the biggest around.
Well, it started off in Piccadilly Gardens, and it was really out of the way. And obviously, like, the Northern Quarter is like the hub of like vintage, and it's like the creative area of Manchester, really. So I think that's why it's situated here. I think it was in the 80s. It was in the 80s or something like that, and it just like came about. And it was like, I think, don't quote me on the 80s. I'm just going to make that up. It just became one of those places where it was creating a lot of independent brands.
When asked why Northern Quarter was so popular among teenagers, Lizzie said it's because it's a place where youngsters can express their creativity freely, only one of the few places in the Manchester city.
'cause I need someone.